Hello everyone, this is Skullshirtigal TCG.
And I'm Juuchan17.
Juuchan has been my friend for longer than I've been on YouTube, and today we are going to collaborate to bring you a very special video.
That's right. Today we are counting down our top 10 favorite Poké Girls. These girls will be from all over the place.
I'll be counting down the anime girls.
And I'll be counting down the girls from the manga and the games.
So, shall I start or will you?
I'll begin.
Number 10.
Panema, or Nema, from Pokemon Ranger Guardian Signs. Not very many people have played the Pokemon Ranger games, though I will admit I haven't either. However, I have managed to play through much of the third and final Ranger game, subtitled Guardian Signs. It's a very fun game with a great story, so I definitely recommend it, even if you haven't played any of the previous Ranger games, Pokemon Ranger, or its successor, Shadows of Almia. Nema is one of those side characters that's very young, but very helpful for the player, as she's like Leonardo from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. She's the one that works with machines. She can be a bit annoying by how she wants you to do some tasks for her throughout the game, but the rewards afterwards are worth all the hard work. Plus, without her, you wouldn't know much of anything about the special ranger signs to summon Pokemon to assist you on your journey later, so that's worth putting her on this list. So, if I like her so much, why is Nema so low? Well, I do appreciate the fact that a smart girl that's good with tweaking machines is in Pokemon. Plus, she's knowledgeable as well as cute. And she has a connection through her parents, Rand and Leanne, with the Pokemon Rangers. I don't think many Pokemon fans acknowledge Nema much, but she definitely deserves some kudos. The least I can do is put her on this list. Oh, and to bring some attention to an underappreciated side game in the Pokemon franchise.
Number 9. Bonnie. Clement's little sister has really found a place in our hearts. From the moment we met her, it was obvious that this wasn't just a generic little girl that was about to tag along on Ash's journey through Kalos. Bonnie has real personality, and since her debut, has gone through some pretty serious stuff. Bonnie has acted and reacted exactly as a 7-year-old girl would. She has gotten genuinely upset to the point of crying, when's the last time we saw that in Pokemon, just as often as she has tried cheering others up during their worst moments. She is quite the responsible girl, taking care of her brothers Dedenne almost entirely on her own, but at the end of the day, she still has lots of growing up to do. That's almost why I like Bonnie so much. She has the innocence of a child, and that is an inspiration to everyone around her. I look forward to seeing how her journey progresses through the XY series. Number 8.
Sharona, or Cynthia, from a lot of Gen 4 and 5 games. It's hard not to put a champion on this list, so why not put the first female Pokemon League champion on here? Cynthia is probably one of the most useful non-player characters in the main Pokemon series, starting way back in Diamond and Pearl. Her interest and knowledge of Pokemon mythology becomes quite important by the main storyline's climax in both Diamond, Pearl, and its sort of sequel game Platinum, as well as being revealed as the League Champion later on. She's also appeared in the Gen 2 remakes, Heart Gold and Soul Silver, through a special Arceus event. All the Gen 5 Unova games in Undella Town, where you can battle her post-game, and in 2 seasons of the anime, and in multiple manga series. She's even had Pokemon and supporter cards in the trading card game. Honestly, it's hard not to find Cynthia in most forms of Pokemon media. So why did I put her so low on the list? Well, let's just say I feel she's way overrated. It's not that I don't like her as a character, but it's more because she's being placed in recent Pokemon games because she's so popular amongst fans. Thank goodness she wasn't an X and Y, but I will admit that for a champion, Cynthia is quite a well-developed character. Not in that way, perverts!
Number 7. Misty. The original Poké Girl, the one who people still turn to when they say, it's not Pokemon anymore because she's not here. The one who only followed Ash around because he ruined her bike. Seriously, the instant he gave her a new bike, she left. More than that though, Misty was a great girl to start the Pokemon series off. She is a strong female character who, for a while, seemed to care more about having things go her way than making sure things went the right way, but after she became something of a mother to Togepi, her personality mellowed out immensely. She became really caring, she lost her temper less often, and by the time she left the group, it was obvious that she had grown up quite a lot. Misty was a big help to Ash in the early days of his journey. Throughout the original series, she constantly gave him advice on how to become a stronger Pokemon trainer. In return, Ash, in his own naive way, helped her become a stronger trainer as well. He constantly surprised her with his unique strategies and battle styles, and it is very likely she started using them herself. Though she has made a few appearances since her leave, I think it's safe to say that the Misty we loved for so long is officially gone from the series. However, I think that the Misty we saw last is far different from the Misty we first met. This Misty is one that will be cherished for the rest of our lives. Number 6.
Matiere, or Emma, from Pokemon X and Y. Emma is a 16-year-old girl that's encountered in the post-game of X and Y. And to say any more about her character will make me dive into spoiler territory. Since the games have been out for over a year now, it should be alright, but just in case, there are some major spoilers for a certain side story arc, so here's a little timestamp if you don't want to hear her story and get it spoiled for you. We're good? Okay, so here's a quick summary. In the post-game, Emma, with only her Esper Mimi, is an orphan out in the streets of Lumio City that is soon taken in by the very familiar international police agent Looker, who helps teach her simple skills like reading and writing and gives her a safe place to stay. However, she wants to repay his kindness somehow by getting a job, only to unknowingly become the form-shifting trainer in an expansion suit named Cynthia that works for Team Flare. Dun dun dun! This only leads to difficult battles, stunning revelations, and a conclusion that was enough to nearly bring me to tears once the side story was done. It's good character development for very many characters, and it has to be the best side story arc in any of the main series games thus far. So, why do I like Emma? Well, she's an appealing character with good reasons for anything that she does, even if it's oblivious to her exactly what she's doing. And the ending of her story arc really was a good wrap-up. Also, her Esper Mimi, she's adorable, and possibly the best partner Emma could ever have for a Pokemon. I'd honestly like to see more of Emma if a follow-up of X and Y was made in the future. Or maybe she could be a better trainer, perhaps. Only time will tell.
Number 5. Dawn. I believe that the Diamond and Pearl series is the best of the anime, though that might change with XY, we'll see. And that is because it is not Ash's story, it's Dawn's. From the get-go, Dawn knew what she wanted to do. She wanted to be a Pokemon coordinator just like her mother. What's more, she actually knew a little bit about how to be a Pokemon trainer. She, like the audience, already knew how the Pokemon world worked, which was a refreshing change-up from previous series. However, when she actually got into participating in contests, she didn't succeed. Not at first. In fact, it wasn't even close. She kept getting eliminated right away. This forced her to do something Ash has yet to do even now, almost 10 years later, change up her strategy. Slowly but surely, Dawn evolved as a trainer and got better at contests as she started treating her Pokemon more as friends and less as tools for winning. By the end of her journey, Dawn had become a strong Pokemon trainer. She didn't grow up much, but one could argue that she didn't need to. She was very caring and loving towards her Pokemon, and it's obvious that it will stay that way for the rest of her life. Number 4.
Lady Platinum Burlitz of Pokemon Adventures, or Pokemon Special. I found it difficult to choose one Poké Girl from the Pokemon Special manga, also known as Pokemon Adventures in English. There are a lot of well-developed female characters as main characters in different arcs, and they're just as interesting as the males. Since we just talked about Dawn from the anime, let's talk about our Pokemon Special counterpart, Platinum. Platinum Burlitz is obviously a 12-year-old girl of high society and breeding. It's easy to judge her as a stuck-up rich girl by the way she carries herself and by how she prefers that normal common folk call her lady or Ojo-sama instead of her actual name. She's actually quite a studious bookworm that knows a lot about Pokemon and is actually willing to try many new things like gym leader battles and super contests. Platinum isn't a perfect character though, as she does make mistakes, can feel sometimes discouraged, and surprisingly isn't good with money. But she does grow and learn during her coming-of-age journey to Mount Coronet with 2 other trainers, Diamond and Pearl, as well as in her solo adventure through the Battle Frontier. Actually, it's because of a mistake at the start of the story that she even travels with Diamond and Pearl in the first place. Though it's honestly for the best, as they help bring out the best in Platinum when she needs help. I really like her character, especially compared to the other usual female Pokedex holders. She can battle well, even after learning new methods and strategies, and her connection with those that she travels with grows so naturally that when she's alone for the first time, she actually shows emotion and misses her friends. Still, this lady is elegant yet tough, willing to give every battle her all. In the end, Platinum Berlitz is one of those characters that you shouldn't judge by her cover.
Number 3. Serena. I need to make it clear, I had a very hard time deciding between 2 girls for the number 1 spot. Serena has shown great potential throughout the XY series, and with each progressing episode, my admiration for her has grown. She has arguably gone through the most character development of anyone in the entire anime. She started out on her journey not knowing exactly what she wanted to do. She just wanted to be with Ash, and yes, the fact that she has a huge crush on Ash helped put her this high on the list. But beyond that, she just didn't know what she wanted to do. It took over 40 episodes for her to catch her first Pokemon, and it was only around the same time that she finally decided she wanted to become a Pokemon performer. And guess what? After she failed at first, she actually wanted to give up. No trying anymore. No telling herself it would be okay, she just wanted to quit. You'd never see anyone else in the anime stop and question whether their dream was actually achievable, and even when Serena decided she wanted to continue, she had to literally change up her entire image in order to make sure it happened. Rest in peace, Serena's hair. Ultimately, the reason she isn't at number 1 is solely because her journey is still ongoing. The XY series as of the time this video is made is only about 75 episodes in. That means it's probably not even halfway over. Serena isn't done growing yet, and while her journey has been a rough one so far, there still is so much joy in her travels. It really shows that she's grown quite a lot since the series began, and I can't wait to see what's in store for her in the future. P.S. Hammer shipping for life.
Before we get to our top 2, here are a couple of honorable mentions.
My honorable mention is Iris. Considering Ash only has 6 female traveling companions, it was inevitable that one be singled out. I decided in the end, Iris was the least best of all the anime Poké Girls. That's not to say she was bad though. On the contrary, Iris is quite the character. She was shown early on that she was more than capable of holding her own, something most other girls lacked. Iris is wild at heart but still has a soft side. Her desire to become a Dragon Master seemed to be put by the wayside early in the Best Wishes series, as she was shown to have been given her only Dragon-type Pokemon, Axew, as a gift. Her other Pokemon, Excadrill, is not a Dragon-type, and the first Pokemon she was seen catching was a Molga, which is also not a Dragon-type. However, halfway through the series, she captured a Dragonite that did not like her, and she was able to use her Dragon training skills to make it listen. Talk about awesome. Still, it would have been nice to see more of Iris's Dragon mastering, but overall, she was still a great character, if the least memorable.
My honorable mention? Well, it's gotta be Crystal from Pokemon Adventures or Pokemon Special. If Platinum is my favorite dex holder in Pokemon Special, then Crystal is my second favorite. However, since I wanted to limit my choices to one character per series, she just barely fell below the cut, so the least I could do was make her an honorable mention on this list. As a character, Crystal, or Chris for short, is a great trainer that's a bit different than the others when it comes to catching Pokemon. Instead of using her hands, she kicks Pokeballs with her feet, and she's darn good at it. Of course, when she doesn't catch a Pokemon, It's enough to nearly shatter her spirit. But in the end, she overcomes it by returning to the trainer that's made her who she is. I will admit, I love her star theme with her Pokemon, and it's neat that a couple of her Pokemon actually have natural star prints on them. In the end, Chris is just a likable gal that's smart and works hard to do her job of catching Pokemon. Plus, she's probably one of the better assistants for Professor Oak in any form of Pokemon media.
Number 2.
Mitsumi from manga Pokemon Diamond and Pearl Adventure. This is one of those underrated Pokemon manga series that luckily got an English release, and I highly recommend it to all fans of Pokemon. It's a fun sort of manga that follows a young boy named Hareta as he seeks out the legendary Dialga, and of course, shenanigans ensue. It reminds me a lot of the original Dragon Ball manga, with its humor and its characters, but it does get pretty dark at times for a kid's manga, and for a Pokemon manga at that. Oops, I got off topic a bit. So, what about Mitsumi? Mitsumi is our Dawn counterpart of this series, though she appears to be much older, more mature, and obviously more developed than our 10-year-old coordinator from the anime. She's the assistant of Professor Rowan, sent to accompany our wild child protagonist on his journey through Sinnoh, but it doesn't take long before her mysterious past slowly starts to come back to haunt her. I would say more, but yeah, spoilers! I honestly don't want to give away her secret so much, so I suggest reading the manga for yourself to fully understand why she's on this list. So, why is she my top Poké Girl? Well, Mitsumi's an all-around interesting character. She's not only beautiful, but also mysterious and complex. Though she ends up being the victim of Hareta's antics early on, and usually has to explain simple rules to him throughout the series, if only because he follows his own rules due to being raised in the wild. Still, while it feels like Mitsumi's teaching Hareta about being a trainer, somehow he's unknowingly making her into a better person through his kind, playful nature and wisdoms from living with Pokemon. Also, she seems to like Eevee and its evolutions for some unknown reason, so I honestly can't help but to like her.
Number 1. May. Many of you who have been watching my videos for a while knew this was coming. My reasons for putting May at number 1 are infinite, but I'll try and narrow it down. At the beginning of her journey, May actually hated Pokemon. Yep, she set out on her Pokemon journey, hating Pokemon. She was shown as naive, barely knowing anything practical about traveling, much less caring for and using her Pokemon in battle. After she met up with Ash, she found herself going into Pokemon contests. After her first contest, she lost and tried to force her Pokemon to continue even when they had fainted. She would constantly get into fights with her younger brother Max and even Ash and Brock on occasion. Well, that doesn't make her sound like a good role model, and just about anyone with sense wouldn't put this girl at the top of the list, so why would I? Because in my opinion, this May is far different from the May we see at the end of the Advanced Generation series. Over the course of several seasons, May's character evolved. The girl who fought to keep from losing at any cost slowly began to care less about winning and more about taking care of her Pokemon and fighting fair. The girl who got into fights with her friends stopped fighting and started actively listening and helping out. And most importantly, the girl who hated Pokemon turned into a girl who loved them. This is most prominently seen in Pokemon Ranger and the Temple of the Sea, where she became a mother to Manaphy. At the end of the movie, there is no doubt in anyone's heart that May has become a girl who loves Pokemon with all her heart. What's better, this transition didn't happen right away. Dawn got into the swing of things within about 30 episodes or so, Misty barely changed at all, and neither did Iris. Serena is still going through her own development as a character, and as I said earlier, she might yet overtake May on this list, but until that happens, May is number 1. That wraps up today's discussion of the day. Thanks Juuchan for being part of this awesome video.
Thanks for having me. It's been a lot of fun.
What should we count down next?
How about top 10 My Little Pony characters? Ooh, or top 10 favorite Balto ships. Or, I know, Our top 10 favorite Pokemon that remind us of Frozen!
Ooh, you know what? I can see how it'll go down already. Oh, you know what? I can see how it'll go already.